Hey everyone, it's Doug here with RetroGeek Gaming. Thank you for joining me again for another video. Today I felt like being a little bit more personable. Had a lot of stuff that I could have talked about, but I wanted to talk about Mother 3. Main reason why is because I feel like it is time to finally localize it. I'll probably start doing a hashtag of Localize Mother 3. I've been hearing a lot about people showing up to events and doing that. But I think it's time. Because, first of all, the game is already out. It's been out on the Game Boy Advance for years in Japan. And despite the sales numbers of Earthbound, which is what it's known as here, Mother 2 in Japan, it has a cult following. And, Nintendo did acknowledge this game by releasing its predecessor, the original Mother, as Earthbound Beginnings on the Wii U. Granted, it was a virtual console game, and you could see it because it looked exactly like an NES. But I feel like it's time, And there's a lot of ways that they could do it. You're always welcome to put your thoughts down in the comments below about how you'd like to see it done. And I'm going to go over a couple of ways that I think they could do it. So feel free to join me for that. But the first way they could do it, it's the easiest way, really. And probably the way that they will do it, since they did it with the original Mother, the original Earthbound Beginnings, whatever you want to call it, on the Wii U. And that is just a straight up port. I mean, it's the easiest. You already have the, Game Boy Advance, Super Nintendo looking version of the game. Just simply take the text, translate it into English, and put it down onto an eShop. Whether you want to release it individually, whether you want to put it on a virtual console type system, however you want to do it, that would be great. You should also do that with Star Fox 2, but that's a completely different argument for another time. But the next way that you could do it would probably take a little bit more time, but I think would be beneficial for everyone, and that is a straight-up remake of the game that takes full advantage of the Switch hardware. And the reason why, kind of make it look like the Nintendo 64 version, but of course just buff up the graphics to make it look much, much better, of course. But the reason why I think that would be beneficial is because I look at it as, well, what about the Japanese market? The Switch is selling like crazy in Japan right now. What reason would they have to buy Mother 3? Well, other than the fact that maybe they don't have a copy of it, but for somebody that maybe was around during the Game Boy Advance days and now has their hands on a Switch, they might look at it as, I've already played this game. Well, if you remake it, bump it up to 10 with the graphics and all that, then they'd have a reason, because now you got a version of Mother that is taking full capabilities of the system that it's on. Now, of course, the way that I would like it is probably the way that they'll do it, because to me it just makes the most sense money-wise, and I think that it would just be great, especially for those people that might not have gotten their hands on a Wii U, to get a copy of Earthbound Beginnings. And that is a straight-up trilogy. To me, this would be the best thing to do, kind of like what they did with Metroid Prime Trilogy. They released it on the Wii, because there are people that might not necessarily have bought a GameCube to play the original Metroid Prime 2. And I can see this becoming a collector's item for the Switch. I mean, if you can imagine a Switch cartridge that contains all three of the Mother games in Japan, all three of the Earthbound games here, that would be crazy. No having to emulate the game to get it to run on a computer, no having to do all this stuff, no having to then go off and buy another, like the original Earthbound Beginnings or Earthbound for the Virtual Console. No, it's all right there. Now, whether or not you want to bump those up in graphics, completely optional, but I'm okay if you left them alone. But that would be great for someone like me, because rather than go off and buy Earthbound Beginnings on my Wii U, which I don't have a problem with, and then having to then buy a copy of Earthbound, and then buy a copy of Earthbound 2, whatever they're going to call it, I think this would be best. And then, this could potentially be, I mean, it's probably not going to happen, because Nintendo really hasn't shown much interest in continuing the Mother series. But this could be an opportunity to continue the Mother series. It's probably not going to happen, because like I said, if you want to really look at it as this could be Nintendo's RPG, they have Xenoblade for that. Xenoblade is a pretty big game. It sold well on both the Wii and Wii U. So, I think this is going to be Nintendo's RPG going forward. But Earthbound Mother has a good opportunity of being that secondary game that maybe releases for the portables, if they ever decide to split them again. Probably not. But that's just my 2 cents, guys. What do you think about Mother 3? Do you think that it should be released in its original form, the way it looks now, as a Game Boy game, Game Boy Advance game, with just in English translation, is plop it onto the Virtual Console for like $10. Do you think they should make a full-fledged remake to take advantage of the Switch? Or are you in the same camp as me and you just want to see a full-fledged trilogy release? Because I think that would be the best. Just like the Metroid Prime trilogy has now become a huge collector's item, and it was a really big deal when it came out for the Wii, because you're able to enjoy the entire series pretty much on one system. You now have that same opportunity. You now have that same opportunity, just like they did with Mother 1 and Mother 2, getting a Game Boy Advance-ish kind of collection to announce Mother 3. I think that would be something that would be great. Announcing a Mother trilogy, Earthbound trilogy, would be fantastic. It would have all 3 games. It'd be a great way to re-release the 3rd game, re-release the original 2 games, and make a nice, tidy profit. Because honestly, I'd spend $40 on that easy. I spend $60 on that easy, because it's still less than half the price of Earthbound on the Super Nintendo. So, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. But that's just my 2 cents, guys. Thanks for watching, and as always, you're welcome to like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz if you want to, because I try to make videos as much as possible. And of course, I would love to hear your feedback about anything that I talk about in any videos, or get suggestions for future videos as well. You're welcome to follow me on Twitter as well if you like. That's really just up to you guys, but I hope that you enjoyed watching this video as much as I've enjoyed making it and talking to you about it. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.